In 1998, Mel Gibson warned about the evils of Hollywood. In an interview with Joe Rogan in 2025, he has now said,
and I think there's bigger things at play here.
Let's dive in and discuss some of the key takeaways from this fascinating interview.
There's resistance, first of all, from secular Hollywood, where, for whatever reason, Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
There are big realms, spiritual realms. There's good, there's evil, and they are slugging it out for the souls of mankind. And my question is, why are we even important? Little old flawed humanity, why are we important in that process where the big realms are slugging it out over us?
Very few people in Hollywood will acknowledge the reality of any spiritual realm, let alone acknowledge the fact that there is a war between good and evil in this realm. As Christians, we know Ephesians 6, verse 12, which says, "For we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, and against evil spirits in the heavenly places." Now, another key takeaway is that Mel Gibson, as a filmmaker, stated that he regards the Gospels as verifiable history, and there are other verifiable historical accounts outside the biblical ones that also bear this up, that yes, he did exist. And the other aspect of that is, all the apostles who went out, every single one of those guys died rather than deny their belief. And nobody dies for a lie. Isn't that an interesting perspective? No one dies for a lie. With such a perspective, I want you to consider the conviction of the disciples and the biblical apostles to have been willing to suffer cruel endings, all for the sake of Christ. In their deaths, there's a testimony to the reality of Jesus Christ and his resurrection. Because no one is clubbed, stoned, burned without having come to that understanding that Jesus Christ truly did overcome death and is alive today.
20 years ago, one of the biggest Christian-based blockbuster films was released. But now, 20 years later, there is news that will surprisingly shock many Christians who enjoyed the first film. But before we get into that, listen to this.
But now we're watching all of this symbolism, and it's not new. We've seen this in the past, but we're watching a volume of it that is really, it seems unprecedented in a lot of people's music videos in context.